His athletic ability. He's certainly got arm talent, and just kind of a gamer back there. If the throw's not open, he can pull it down and take off. And he's one of the fastest. They got a lot of speed on the field, and he's one of those guys that can certainly get up and down the field and eat up yards in a real hurry. So you get your hands full with him. He's the reason he even started out at Ole Miss as a quarterback and transition receiver, and just as a baseball player, two-sport athlete there. And he's a very good player, and we got to keep him back there and keep him in the pocket and see if we can get to him before he takes off scrambling, before he gets rid of the football back there.
You guys did a good job containing Hennigan from scrambling last week. Can you take anything that you did last week to apply that to Plumlee?
We talked last week about extra effort plays, and I think that's the same plan to win this week is extra effort plays. And I thought Chandre Mims was one of those guys that had a few extra effort plays. Hennigan's getting ready to break out there on the scramble, and Chandre comes free and just clips his back leg there and gets him on the ground. And I think that's got to be the same mindset approach this week to Plumlee is, hey, you got to play all out. And all of us got to freaking be full tilt, full effort, extra effort, just to kind of find a way to get him on the ground and those running backs and those receivers as well. So, and we got to do a good job keeping eyes on him as well at the linebacker level and spy guys, whoever that may be, and control rushes. So we got to have a plan for that as well.
You played 4 overtimes on Saturday, so defensive players naturally saw a lot of extra snaps. How do you kind of balance preparing for UCF like you would if you hadn't played overtime, but also making sure they get sufficient recovery?
Yeah, I think we were right at 60 snaps right before the last drive of the game. In overtime, we ended up like 79 snaps, so it's about 19 extra there. But you really don't look at like, hey, we got to take a few snaps off this week, practice-wise. You got to get back to work. All that matters this week is UCF. The 4 overtime games, we can gain a lot of experiences from that and a lot of confidence from that, and did some good things in overtime, and we can take that forward. But really, it's back to UCF and working just as hard this Tuesday as we did last Tuesday, just as hard this Wednesday as we did last Wednesday, to go be successful this week and get a big win.
How happy were you with the execution in overtime, especially on the 2-point conversion?
Yeah, really happy on the last one. I thought, the one that's probably, you're holding your breath a little bit when we didn't convert, and they scored, and then they got a chance to go win it right there. And I think Chad made a huge play, and really we were in a pass call because most 2-point plays, you're looking for just quick man beaters or bunch routes and those type of things, and somebody slip free because all it needs is 3 yards and stick it in there to him. So that's what you're playing for down there. And he made a heck of a play and got to stop and push it to another overtime. And eventually, like, you're going to find a way to execute and make a play, and our guys did, and it was nice to see because we do spend a lot of time on that. And that's the red zone defense we talked about several times this year. 2-point plays are part of that. We spent a lot of time, not only versus whoever we're going against, UCF this week, but also against ourselves, just because there's some carryover there. So just really proud of the guys and the execution down the stretch there. Yeah, the Big 12.
I don't think that's any secret. How big is this game against UCF in establishing a lot of confidence when you guys have kind of a gauntlet to go through?
Yeah, and you don't look ahead to the other, I'm gonna call them the Big 12 teams, but you don't look ahead to those guys. You just worry about UCF and worry about what's in front of you. I just told the linebackers on the field, get ready to go win the biggest game in Pirate football history in the American Conference. And I don't know, Stephen, you guys may have a different one, but it may be the biggest American Conference win that we've won in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium, or at least one of them. So we got to focus on UCF, all eyes on them, executing and playing with great effort this Saturday, and then we'll worry about those other guys later on. But you certainly got a gauntlet coming up. If you look ahead at it and you look like where they're supposed to be and where they're going to be at next year. But right now we got to focus on where we are today, where our feet are today, and where we're going to be at Saturday night at 7:30.
Y'all played well down there last year. I know it's a much different offense, but they got the score late. Can you use that as a motivation all going in this game, or are you just not worried about it?
There's no doubt. I mean, it is. They got a few different guys on offense that are back or new, but it's the same offense and the same play caller. And I think they had 3 points in the first half, and 13 before the last drive there at the end of the game. And so you got to use that as some confidence and things we did well in that game, and there's some things we didn't do so well in that game, knowing that they'll come back to those where they made a play and where we got to make a play here and there to go secure the win and make sure we come out of there with a win. And they got some really good athletes over there. I mean, the tailbacks, John Bowser, he's the starter. Big kid, 220 pounds. He'll get downhill on you. You got to do a great job tackling him. Johnny Richardson, he's now in 0. You got to know when he's in the game because he can get going in a hurry. I mean, he's the one who caught the screen pass in the second half. They got him in field goal range there. And then 4 out wide. O'Keefe, he's a track star, and you see that every week. He takes off on people, whether it's a post ball, whether it's a jet sweep. So you got to at all times know where he is, and they got several other guys back there too that can be playmakers. O-line, the 3 starters in the middle, the center, and the 2 guards are guys we saw last year. So and then 2 tackles are new guys, transfers. One from Jacksonville State, one from Virginia, and then the other tailback back there is transferred from Virginia. I think he was out last year with an injury, but he's back, and he's kind of a combination of Bowser and Johnny back there as well. So. Really good offense. Obviously you don't put up 70 points by being a poor offense. You don't average 40-something points a game unless you're doing some things right. And they want to run the football. I think that's, it's been one of our strengths on the season, stopping the run. And just overall, and I think 4 of the 6 games we're right at 100 yards or less in rush defense. I think, if you add the little jet sweep, if you call that a run, they're about 350 a game in rushing. I know in the stats it only looks like about 260, but when I'm tossing the ball from me to you, I'm not sure that's a pass. I know it goes in the stats as that, but we'll consider that the run game when we break it down defensively.
Gerard Stringer said that they have the ability to run a lot of trick plays. Conley has 25 receptions to his name in his collegiate career. Have you talked to your defense about the fact that he can leak out and possibly catch a pass?
Yeah, so we call them gadget plays. They may call them specials or whatever. We're talking about the reverses. We're talking about the double passes. We're talking about flea flickers. Those are kind of the gadget type plays we're discussing here. And when we got done with Navy, we were working Navy every Sunday night. And once we played Navy, we started working some gadget plays for UCF, knowing that they've got so many in their playbook that they've used over the last couple of years, going all the way back to Auburn, that he could pull out, that we started working those just on Sunday nights just to prepare for this game, because there's no way possible you can work every single one of them, every single scenario. There's too many of them. So we started working those a couple of weeks ago. Our kids are certainly aware of, Keith's the guy, the double pass guy, reverse guy. Johnny Richardson, when he gets out wide, he's coming in jet motion. He could be a guy if he's in the backfield going the screen pass. So we're certainly alert of all those situations and what could come up. The Wildcat stuff, the fire alarm we got down there in the zone last year. So, alert of those situations, been practicing those for a couple weeks now. And our kids, the big thing is you got to be locked in the middle of the game because you don't know exactly when it's coming, and it's going to come fast. So you got to be alert and you got to be aware of a situation.
When there is so much, things like that to cover, is it just like an eye discipline sort of game for you guys?
Certainly. Some of it's awareness, and the rest of it's just eye discipline. Just being disciplined. And I think we've said this a couple times in here. You see a lot of things. You ain't seeing anything. You're seeing very little. But you focus on your key. You focus on your fundamentals. You see little. You see a whole lot because it's going to tell you a whole lot. So we just got to make sure our guys are doing their job and playing their responsibility, because there's going to be multiple within a play. There's going to be multiple options to the play. In some aspects, we talked to our kids about it. It's a little bit like Navy. You got a dive, you got a quarterback, you got a pitch phase. With these guys, it may be the jet, maybe the quarterback, it may be the counter. 3 different plays in one. So every single individual in our defense has to be playing their responsibility. 11 guys playing as one, but each single individual playing their job. So we play together and be successful Saturday night.
You don't have to name your favorite. What do you think about Eastern North Carolina barbecue?
I think it's really good. I think anybody that hasn't had it should try it. And but I really enjoy it. And just growing up in North Carolina, it's always been a favorite. You don't go too many days in a row without having barbecue. And then once you move from the western part of the state to the eastern part of the state, you become a fan favorite of Eastern barbecue. And we got a lot of good barbecue joints around here. And just really glad I'm here and get to enjoy those.
Anything else? Appreciate it, Coach.